Solely Wolfgang, one of our esteemed members of the community here, has recommended this group. Now I'm gonna butcher it, so just forgive me. ValRavn. I'll just call it ValRavn. It's easy for me to say in whatever. Coder Pas Nor. Okay, I'm not sure what language this is, but I am digging on the cover. It is. Did anyone go? Let's go back for a minute. When I don't know how old everyone who's watching is. I used to buy CDs based on album art. And that's how I found a lot of odd bands, because it's easy enough to buy a band that you've already heard everyone listen to. Hell, you can just turn on the radio. It didn't really make a lot of sense to buy those albums for me unless you just really loved it. So I always like discovering things. And I would just paw through all the albums in the record store and find the coolest art. And usually, a lot of times the art would pretty much tell you what you needed to know. And so I like to play this game here with myself and see where I land on the spectrum. But looking at this, I'm going to start. Well, my first thing, obviously, you see a girl, sort of a fantasy aesthetic. She's got this like tattered tutu deal on here, but it looks very like homemade costume-ish, especially with the red stripe around it. You wouldn't really see that in like a, I don't know, I guess you could see it in theater. But then she's got some feathers going on here and sort of an emo haircut. So this tells me right out the gate, my first, if I was standing real far back, I would think classical style music. But then as I pick up all those details, like the tatteredness of it and the, so you got the feathers, okay, maybe it's not quite classical, but folksy, or it could have like a theatrical type feel to it. And also the font suggests to me sophistication. I love this Victorian V they got going on there. But then when I see the like spiked tentacles coming out of the back, that suggests something alien. And generally, anytime they think alien, you think sci-fi. And most sci-fi leans into like synth bass. So just at a glance, I would just imagine this is sort of, okay, so I got folksy, semi-classical oriented, maybe very classical. But the I could be wrong on the synth stuff, but that sort of alienness of it gives me a sci-fi vibe. And then her haircut's a little emo looking. So it could be a little like dreamy. Yeah, that's a lot of genres to throw together, but we love mixing genres these days, and music's all the better for it. So let's see what ValRavn has to offer for me. If you know this group, if you've ever seen them, tell me about a story about, seeing them. I don't know how old this is. So I don't know if this is new or old. This thumbnail, I think I did see. Man, this legs at this 96 subs. Oh wait, okay, that may not be it. 13 years ago. Okay. I thought it was something like that. All right, let's go with it. So my first thought was that the thumbnail may have been scanned in off of something sort of low quality because it's a little macro blocked. It's not like a perfect digital transfer of an image. It's like someone took a picture of this and blew it up for the thumbnail, but it wasn't under the band's name either, so Could have been a bad mate. I don't know. All right, let's find out. What do we got here? ValRavn, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Solely Raven. I have no doubt this is going to be cool because you listen to cool music and you are very well informed on the music that you share. So let's see where you fall on this spectrum. Thank you. Okay, so we do have a vocal pad. Snap. Okay. Damn. Alright, this is pretty sick. Oh, nice. So those vocal pads, now they're done with real voices. atmospheric here. Oh no, it's not over. I want to stop it, but I don't. Alright, we're gonna walk away here. Nice. We're getting a fade. All right, now that was such a cool. Oh man, so I have.
Let's be honest.
Stop it. No, let's be honest. We're not gonna listen to you. We're gonna go back. We're gonna turn it down a little because I want to talk about this a little bit. Okay, so once she started to I think right there was my first. So in the beginning, I couldn't tell if we were hearing it. It sounded like a vocal pad, but then later we got this same progression with what sounded like live vocals, still a pad in the back. So it could have been that in the beginning just turned way down with that pad being higher. So there's definitely synth involved. Not as much classical as I thought, but there was violin, so wasn't totally off on that. And you can definitely hear the like just the love for those more classical instruments. I know as soon as you hear like violin, just screams classical for some reason to me, because piano's in everything. And the violins had this like resurgence a little bit in pop music with artists like Lindsey Sterling, and it's always kind of, you find it in mainstream music, no doubt, but just something about the violin, those stringed instruments, bowed instruments, just makes me think classical. It may not be for everybody, because most classical music would be that we think of like was composed were mostly pianists would compose these pieces and then write the pieces out, for the other instruments. But the second I hear a violin, to me, anyway, that's just a flaw of mine. So I have to say, her voice right in there, not quite yet. Actually, I didn't hear it yet, but right there, that as soon as I heard that, I couldn't help but to think of Bjork, and that's not a slight at either artist. Actually, hell, before I keep talking, Bjork might have been involved. It could be her singing for all I know. I don't really know anything about this. But it didn't sound... I thought so at first, actually. I thought, oh, is that Bjork singing? And then I waited because she is... I'm sure there's a lot of artists that have not only been influenced by her, and there's probably people that have tendencies, especially if you've grown up listening to her, to maybe to use some of, like, her influences might come through a little heavier, but through the song I didn't stick with that. It didn't, so I don't think it was Bjork. I could be wrong. Again, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is a project. But what really told me that it probably wasn't Bjork was the focus. Now, this did have a lot of like microtonal stuff and like deconstruction of like sound, and it kind of reminded me of where Bjork started to get with her like third album on. But it seems like she just got a little more further from let's see, what do you call, like, reality of music, like what we think of. I shouldn't say of music, but of like a base truth, what people, she's like, she started, and the more and more she was able to gain control over what she was able to do, and knowledge in the studio, knowledge of the instruments, the more out there she went with it. Like, she just decided she was never going to make... I don't know if she has it in her head or if she just sits down and starts just creating and just has no desire to make anything for anyone other than herself, or maybe she does. I have no idea. But this had a lot more focus. Like in, well, that's just all I'll say. It had a very, like, even when the rhythm fell off, there was always something to hang on to that had like a beat to it. Even when the beat wasn't there, it would just replace it with something else that kept a timing. And that's not something you really hear in much Bjork. But again, this was 13 years ago. So let's go a little bit more. But her vocal styling's definitely, you can hear some influence. Now, I don't know, is this Icelandic or Norwegian? I mean, there's moments, I swear, it's like I'm listening to some Bjork, but it's just, as a complete composition, it doesn't really sound like, sounds like someone else, like a different group or person. Let's find out see what we can find out about ValRavn. I better type in band. Who knows what this will come up. Okay, corporation. I'm not enjoying ValRavn at all. Enemies. So there's a game called ValRavn. Bad? No, no wonder. Band. Okay, here we go. Bam. We'll go with images first. Let's see what they look like. I'm going to steal some images anyway. So, is it a 3-piece or a 4-piece? I'm lost here because some pictures have 4. Oh, wait. They're different groups. Okay. This will be our... maybe. What is he? Raven? Thumbnails. Start with that as a thumbnail. Oh my gosh, deadlock? What am I looking at here? Okay. I've totally gotten lost in what I was talking about. Farin Uttan Verda. Oh. Uttan. That's the title of the song. Farin Uttan. Uttan et oh, I gotta hear it again. Uttan. It almost says she said all. Uttan Farin. Uttan alverad Vekk. Farin. Uttan enak vera. No. Uttan et vera. Okay. Apologize for my I forget where I'm at sometimes. I really like this part right here. There's like a combination of a bell. Oh, there's those vocals. Oh, they're so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there is a I want to say it's a Korg or a Roland. It was a single model that was used in the early it was used predominantly. It wasn't the most popular model, but it had the ability to do all these weird spacey sounds. Like, you can do that with a lot of synths, but this was like, so Metroid Prime, a lot of people, I don't know, anyone knows about Metroid Prime? Let's see here. It was a, GameCube game? But a little known fact about it that people don't know is that a lot of the sounds actually came from a sound pack. Back in the day, and they still do this, but they had sound libraries. And people have fought me up and down on this. So they used to have all these sound libraries, and many musicians just would make instead of a CD, they would have contracts with these companies, and people would buy into their either license us something, or they might just buy the whole thing outright so that they had use for it for X amount of years or forever or whatever. So the original Metroid Prime soundtrack a lot of it was from a sound library. And the reason people get up in arms about it is because they look at the music written by, and Nintendo would never want the world to know that their music came from a sound library. And so anytime for a while there, some videos started popping off about it. And Nintendo was like crushing those videos quickly because the man who wrote the music for it, is a very well-known writer of video game soundtracks. So let's just go with something. You know what? I'm going to get tagged. You heard that right there. You hear that? It's probably enough. I'm going to get tagged from Nintendo. Freaking idiots. But this Roland, so the whole sound, okay. So Nintendo assigns the musician, hey, get this, make this soundtrack for our game. The designer's having a hard time quite figuring out exactly what he wants to do. He's pouring through. He finds an amazing sound pack and uses a lot of it. And the thing is the person who wrote that sound, like I found the interview of the guy who wrote those sounds, and he basically just used this, I want to say it was a Roland. And I'll find out more because this has gone on way too long. Maybe this might deserve its own video. But he basically just kind of learned how to use this Roland and then made a whole sound library and stuck it out there. And I forget what it was called. Let's see. This should be in my search stuff because I've looked this up so many times to have this argument with people. And there people are like, no. The author of this music, he did it all. Well, everybody's like, he does it all by himself. He would have never gotten stuff from a sound library. And it's like, no, he did. Pretty much the title track is just a song straight off of the sound library. Like, very little input at all. And, but whatever. People don't want to know that. It bothers them. It's like I've had some comments on a few of my videos, especially when I talked about, I think it was Aurora. It was on her first album, and I just suggested that it was basically about warriors, and I didn't even release Warriors because, and I talked about another one that it sounded too produced. Someone says her songs are overproduced. She has always had complete control of everything that she's made, or something along that lines. Like she has ultimate control over everything. Like she was like 13 or 15. Like, no, you don't get to get a gigantic sound. You don't get a contract with a big company who's willing to put a bunch of money into you and not have a little guidance. Have somebody standing there telling you what to do. Like, that's just not the way the world works. So why people get so upset to find out that one of their favorite soundtracks took some stuff from a sound library? I understand what it feels like. One of my favorite musicians of all time. I'll just end this here. I know I've gotten way off topic. We'll just say I loved the song. Thank you, Soli. But one of my favorite musicians of all time, his name's Ronnie Martin. He has always had this group called Joy Electric, and some of the greatest music I've ever heard, in my opinion. And after 20 years of music, he decides to do a Kickstarter. He's leaving his record company. He wants to do something all on his own. It's the worst album he ever made. I'm sorry. It's just the worst thing he ever made. He didn't have a producer. He didn't have any guidance, and that's all it takes sometimes is just another voice in the room to help rein you in. And I was so disappointed. I was like, good. I mean, what happened? What happened? He lost his producer. He watched his. He eventually brought someone to bounce all his ideas off of. So it was a two-man job, which he was the core writer, but he always had like his partner in crime, And once the producer and his partner and their mix and all that was gone, the album was terrible. It was awful. I mean, it was just nothing. It just like you would think that, well, it has the bones of something good. Maybe it's just not what I wanted at the time. But then he gave up on music altogether after that for like 7 or 8 years, disappeared. Then he came back, and his first new outing was something different, but his second effort was good. Was good. It had some really good stuff. Anyhow, sometimes, so that was heart crushing to me to find out that the person I thought was the most genius creative on the planet, no one has ever made music like this, couldn't do it basically on his own. The illusion was shattered when I actually got the drum machine. Oh, here we go. Here's something. The drum machine. Well, this is the drum machine. This is the actual synth patches.
Hundreds of new tools rigorously tested to stand the test of time.
Go away.
Think you know Harbor Freight? Think
No.
again.
So I'll at least find out the drum machine. What is it? What's the name of it?
Hey, this is Cinemax. For those who don't follow my YouTube channel, I'm an electronic music composer-producer, and for a hobby I search for synthesizers and sample libraries that were used in some of my favorite music and media. One of my favorite games growing up was Metroid Prime, and I've documented my work of reverse engineering the soundtrack through my various YouTube videos.
I have seen this
This
guy.
has led me to the discovery of several synthesizers and sample libraries, including a line
There
of
it is.
synths known
What's
as
it called?
Korg Electribe. There were several various models released.
Okay, so what I was talking about was the Korg Electribe.
Focusing on the Korg Electribe ER1 for this video.
Because
Now, like the other Electribe models, the ER1 is very interesting because it is a groove box, which is a type of synth that was marketed to DJs and producers who wanted a sequencer and knobs for total control during performances. This is where the device shines, and because of this, the ER1 is considered a classic in the drum machine community.
Okay. I want to hear the thing.
But instead of focusing on what the synth can do, I'm going to talk about how the ER1 was specifically used to get a better understanding of the music production for these games. Like its sister model, the EA.
Oh my God, bro.
Points at the
But do we hear these
That leads me to my next question.
sounds?
What games and tracks from the Prime trilogy did the ER1 appear on? Well, this is where things get interesting. As far as I know, the ER1 itself was only used in a handful of tracks from Metroid Prime 1. Instead, with one of the samples.
Let's go. Uncivilized Grooves. Uncivilized Grooves is the name of the sound library. I think you can buy the whole thing for like $50, or you could just get it for free. I'm sure.
We get Torvus Bog and Talon Overworld. Let's check out preset C56. This last voice here is used in Versus Fly and a couple of soundtracks. So, if the majority of Metroid Prime's percussion samples are from this sample library, which tracks actually use the ER1 synth itself?
We don't need to know all that. I don't want Nintendo taking me down. I know this guy is Cinemax a little. I mean, I followed him, and he's had a big fight. This is like his third channel with some of the same videos because of this. He's like, this guy's obsessed with this whole topic. Anyway, there's a lot of space sounds, and Roland, they've done a lot with you can do anything now with the synths, but that's, I don't know, some sounds only came on a certain sound card that was designed for that synth, and you may never get it again, even with all this powerful software in the world. It's stuck there, which it's what it should be. Let's get back to this. Some of these Some of these sounds, I wish it, this, I just wonder, I wonder what they're using. There's some sounds in there that really remind me of the Metroid Prime soundtrack. Anyway, and stuff that came from that ER1 synth. Anyhow, that was a long tangent, and I apologize for the history. Thank you, Sully. That was cool. I'm going to find out some more about ValRavn. We're just going to call it Val. I'm going to say ValRavn. And you can smack me the day you meet me. You're going to come, or I'm going to come there, or you're going to come here, and you're just going to smack me. Like, no, listen, that's not ValRavn. It's okay. And thank you for everyone, for whoever made it this far. If you made it this far, just say, I made it this far. You are a dumbass. And I'll say, oh, thank you very much. That's great. Have a good night. Goodbye.